going on, man? 420 Boxing Network. You already know what it is. Let's get right to it. So the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant looked like it's not going to happen. That's what's being reported. That's what's out there right now. What's going on? Why is this fight not happening? I know y'all want to know. I'm going to break it down for y'all. So this is all about business. It has nothing to do with this fighter being scared of that fighter or that fighter being scared of the other one. Has nothing to do with that. It has to do with Canelo's promotional company or lack thereof, and PBC won a multi-fight deal from Canelo. See, Canelo doesn't want to fight a multi-fight deal. He just want to fight Caleb Plant, unify the division, become undisputed, and move on about his business. PBC is like, well, that does no benefit to us as a promotional company. PBC is saying, well, Canelo, instead of you coming over here and fighting one time and then leaving, why don't you fight a multi-fight deal, 4-fight deal, and then we'll give you Caleb Plant. But we'll also give you the other PBC fighters that's around your weight class that we have. Canelo's like, I'm not really interested in those guys. And see, we all know who the guys are. You know what I mean? The 4-fight deal is going to probably be, you know, Caleb Plant, of course, David Benavidez, Charlo, and Errol Spence. That's probably going to be the 4 guys. Why? Charlo, because, you know, he's getting a name. You know what I mean? He's been fighting for a minute. They feel like if he can get a fight with Canelo, that'll make Charlo a star, getting exposure. Canelo's like, well, that doesn't do anything for him. You know, he'll be doing a favor for Charlo. Charlo brings nothing to the table for him. He's not a champion in his division or anything. He'll just be doing a favor. So Canelo's like, hey, and then when it comes to David Benavidez, he lost his belt on the scales. That's nobody's fault but his own. You know, had he had that WBC belt when Canelo was trying to unify, Canelo would have fought him, but he lost it. So he ended up fighting Callum Smith for the vacant. Got that. So he's not interested in fighting that guy. And none of these guys are stars, by the way. And then that leaves the other guy, Errol Spence. Errol Spence has a good chance, and I threw him in there because we can't ignore the fact that, hey, if Errol Spence can get past Manny Pacquiao, especially in dramatic fashion, and he's on PBC, why not? And he wants to move up. Why not entertain that fight with Canelo? He already threw out Canelo's name a while back. Errol Spence did. So, you know, be on the lookout for that. But Canelo's not interested in those guys because those guys are not stars. They're not pay-per-view stars. So he's going to be given a favor. There's no history there. See, the fight with Caleb Plant is history there. Canelo is trying to be the first Mexican champion to hold 4 belts in one division. He's also trying to be the first ever undisputed 168-pound super middleweight champion. You know, and when they said that, when I was aware of the news, my mind immediately went to Andre Ward because he won the Super 6. I'm like, wasn't he, I had to refresh my memory. Like, man, wasn't he undisputed? But no, I remember Lucian Bute had that IBF back then. I remember that, and he didn't want to participate. Lucian Bute didn't want to participate in a 168-pound tournament, nor did he want to fight the winner. So he just wanted to hold on to the belt and fight tomato cans until he ended up fighting somebody and they knocked him out. I forgot who he got knocked out by. You know what I mean? But Bute was never interested in fighting Andre Ward or anybody in the Super 6 for that matter. So yeah, I feel like Lucian Bute kind of robbed the Super 6 participants by not fighting the winner. He should have fought the winner. He definitely should have, but he didn't. But anyways, there's history behind Canelo fighting Caleb Plant. So that's why he want to fight Plant and not the other guys, the Charlos and those guys. You know, And then after that, we already know he's probably going to go up to 175. You know what I mean? So, but that's what's stalling this fight. And you can't blame neither side. You can't blame Canelo for wanting to take his own destiny in his own hands. You know what I mean? Be his own boss and make his own decisions. You know, he wanna fight on a one fight deal basis, and that's fine. But on the PBC side, you can't blame them for wanting to lock up a star like Canelo. He's the biggest star in the sport. It does no benefit for PBC if Canelo comes over there and beat one of their champions and leave. No, but it does some benefit to the company if he stays and fight 2-3 more fights so we can get that revenue back up. Because you have to realize Canelo, he's getting 40 million guaranteed. That's why you can't blame Caleb Plant either. He wanted the money. Caleb Plant asked for money, 10 million. They gave him 10 million. But also Caleb Plant gave Canelo everything he wanted. You know what I mean? So he wanted a rematch clause. Caleb Plant said he wanted a rematch clause. He gave Canelo a rematch clause. But it has nothing to do with that. Those aren't the reasons why Canelo doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight if he has to fight a multi-fight deal. That's all this is about. You know, but we can't say Canelo's scared because he was willing to leave a promotional company to sign with another one just to get a Caleb Plant fight. I mean, I like Caleb Plant as a fighter, but come on now. He's not that important to where a guy has to do all that just to fight him. So that lets you know Canelo wanted to fight. And by Caleb Plant agreeing to the demands, let you know that he wanted to fight. He just wanted to get $10 million for it. Which, hey, we can't, you know, criticize a man because he won X amount of dollars or whatever. Now, of course, if it's outrageous and now you price yourself out to fight, come on, we obviously know you don't want to fight. But, you know, 10 million, let him get his money. But it has nothing to do with, you know, one fighter being scared of another, or it's just strictly business. I thought they would get it done, though. I really thought they would get it done, but it's looking like they're not going to get it done. You know? But when you look at, okay, where do each fighter go from here? If Canelo doesn't fight Caleb Plant, then who does he fight? Now, if it's a replacement fight, I don't think it's going to be somebody that's too tough. Probably a name, but probably not a guy that you have to study long and hard for, because what the negotiations doing, by the negotiations taking this long, you don't want to go from training for Caleb Plant to training for another guy in a short amount of time. Now you're doing yourself a disservice as the A side. So I'm not going to lie. Probably, if it's a replacement fight, it's probably not going to be stiff competition. Or, hey, he might just go up to 175 on the Mexican independent date. You might see that. He might go up there and fight a Benavidez or whatever. Which I don't really hate those fights. I mean, it's a stiff test for Canelo because he's not a natural 75-pounder. So those fights are always intriguing. Caleb Plant, if he doesn't fight Canelo, anybody else he fight is a step down. So he's going to lose out on a big payday. So I know Caleb Plant wants this fight to get done. So it's not Caleb Plant. And I know Canelo wants to be undisputed, so it's not Canelo. It's simply the promotional companies, and they have too much control. They have too much control. When you think about it, like, why not just let the guy fight as one? I mean, I understand it. You know what I mean? You want to get your money, but for the fans, what about the fans who want to see the fight? You know what I mean? There were talks about the ring size. A lot of people were saying, well, Caleb Plant stated that Canelo wanted well, him and Canelo agreed upon a 22 by 22 foot ring, and that Canelo wanted a smaller ring all of a sudden. And a standard ring size is 20 by 20. So 22 by 22 is kind of big. You know what I mean? But these fighters feel like Canelo's flat-footed, that he's not going to be able to cut off the ring. They're going to try to use the ring. But we seen Billy Joe do that, and it didn't really work that well for him. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're trying to train for a Canelo 10 years ago, 7 years ago. They're going to try to put on their best Landy Lord, Floyd Mayweather impression. That's their idea. But Canelo's grown from those years. That's what y'all have to understand. He's grown from that. So if y'all preparing for that type of Canelo, y'all already losing. But I do agree with Caleb Plant. That's his best chance to win, is to use the ring and try to box. He has the faster hands. He has the faster feet. You know what I mean? So he could give Canelo problems. I already said that I feel like Caleb Plant is the most talented out of the guys at 68. And he's the one that could give Canelo problems. I'm not saying he can win. I'm not saying he's going to win. But it's possible. I guess we'll have to wait and see. We may never know. 420 Boxing Network, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about this fight. Do y'all want to see it? Would y'all rather see Canelo versus Caleb Plant? Would y'all see Canelo at 175? Y'all let me know in the comments. I'm out.